How do you think? How do you feel about that, comp? Do you think you guys have got that in the bag?
I would be very disappointed if we came away with nothing. We'd taken a strong squad. The fact that we've pretty much kind of got our reserves and under 18s playing in the Carabao Cup against Villa tomorrow is a big statement of intent that pretty much kind of our first team squad have travelled for the Club World Cup. So yeah, I
remember the old Club World Cup when Man United were in it long time ago, mate.
99, mate.
Oh, we actually pulled out the FA Cup to play in it. It was disgraceful stuff. But I expected, as you did, a win, and we were absolutely appalling. So I hope it goes to plan for you guys. But for the listeners, one thing to make sure you're aware of, we touched on it last week. You should have been planning already for this. Maybe Mane goes. I'm personally probably going to keep him because that's just me at the moment. I'm in disarray with my team, but I do think, be sure to be very aware that Liverpool and West Ham are not playing this week. You've got any of their players, have a quick look, make sure you bench them, or make sure you get ready and transfer them out. But make sure you've got enough money to get them back in if you like those players. That said, Neil, your game, 2 games for the week that you're looking at,
definitely.
Mate.
So I'm actually going to start with Everton Arsenal, which is the first game on the Saturday. It's the early kickoff or lunchtime kickoff in the UK, or early morning kickoff in the US.
7:30 here in the US. Is it because you think this is a tasty game, or you think there's points to be had?
I actually think there's points to be had for Arsenal.
Okay.
For Everton, to be honest.
I was very surprised about Arsenal,
I actually think that, and this was again a knee-jerk, I got in Richarlison, got rid of him. He scored points. He didn't score many points the last game week, but I feel he's going to be a standout performer in this game. And I just still feel that Arsenal are in disarray and are there for the taking. And a good resurgence for Everton under Big Dunk. Got a good result against Man United with the draw. I'd consider that a good result. They're at home as well, so they've got that kind of big home advantage. Yeah, I just think that they're going to put in a performance. And I think
teams without managers, right?
Yeah, with that manager in principle. Yeah. They've got interims, but I feel in terms of the trade-offs of the interims, I think Big Dunk's doing a good job. He's galvanised the players, and I think players on form like Calvert-Lewin, and I think more so Richarlison, are good picks. And I think Richarlison is one of those picks for if you're looking to either bench or get in players for some of those Liverpool players that aren't playing. He's one to watch.
I mean, the form says you're right. I feel Arsenal's defence was again so questionable against Man City. They just cannot defend properly. So I would go with that. I do think Everton will win. Iwobi had a shot against Man U. I mean, it almost went in. De Gea saved it, obviously. But Everton, Iwobi going back to Arsenal. Sometimes players go back to their former teams and haunt their teams.
It's true, yeah.
Is he worth consideration for people, or is it just be a one game only?
It'd be a one game only if you did. I think like I said before, I think Richarlison's probably a better pick.
What do people think about Sigurdsson? He was big at the beginning.
Yeah, he's just dipped really. He's kind of just not been there. You'd look to him, to be honest.
He's ill at the moment. He's got an illness and he didn't play against United on the weekend here. Did he? So, yeah, possibly. I think they're called STIs these days.
He is 75% illness. Yeah, he's been a naughty boy. But he played against Chelsea before, and since he's been playing 90 minutes for the last sort of 5 before the Man U game, so he could be back in. But again, he's not really doing it. But I think Richarlison, you're right. Do you reckon Arsenal might score against Everton, or do you think Everton are defending quite well at the moment? I'll tell you what, they're putting 5 men behind the ball.
Yeah,
eight behind the ball.
I think it's kind of I do think Everton are susceptible. Yeah. The problem is that with where and who's going, even though they've got Aubameyang and Lacazette, it's just that creativity and who's going to provide that service for them that's going to get the goal. Yeah, I do think Arsenal will score. I think it's going to be 2-1 to.
I'm going to say though, Arsenal put 10 men behind. Everton 10 men behind the ball against Man United. Literally did the same the game before when they beat Chelsea. If you can't attack and Arsenal can't, there's not going to be much room.
True.
I think
it'll be a different game. Everton.
I think he's right. I think Neil's right what he's saying.
I think it will open up a bit more. I think they'll give it more of a shot.
I could see Everton winning it though, and I could see Richarlison and NVD.
I want to disagree with you. I think it'll be 1 or 2-0 to Arsenal.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. That's what I see happening.
Even after the way Arsenal defended against City?
I think so. I mean, that's City. It's a different calibre.
So a bounce back for Arsenal is what Sean the John McGinn fanboy is saying. I mean, Arsenal 1 win in the last 5. Questionable for me. I'm with you, Neil. What's your second game for us, mate?
I'm going to go with Norwich Wolves. So, Norwich
Wolves.
Yeah.
Tasty.
Yeah. It's an interesting one purely because of two things, really. You've got Norwich playing at home. You've got Pukki, who seems to be coming back into a better form. Now, it could be short-lived.
Yeah, it's true.
But at the same time, he could be coming back into form, in which case, naturally, you're going to get points. I'm not going to say that Norwich will win the game because I think Wolves are the stronger team, even though Norwich are at home. But I do think Pukki's got a good chance to get your point. That said, on the flip side, with Wolves, we've seen a number of players starting to kind of get a lot of points for them. Not only just kind of Jimenez, but there's Jota, Moutinho, and Traore, who made the dream team. So again, I think if Wolves are really on form, and I do think they won the game, you've got points from a number of different areas and players.
Jota, Jimenez, Traore.
Yeah.
Worth looking at.
Worth looking at, and I think the likes.
If you're a betting man, who's going to win this game?
I think Wolves will win this game. I think they'll
easily.
Win. I think they'll win 3-1.
I feel that's a strong choice. I think Norwich had that mini revival against Leicester, almost getting a point, and they've had a couple of good weeks. But you've got to look at the fact that Norwich have had 17 games and scored 18 goals.
We just said Pukki. 9 goals already. Maybe he's still worth a shout.
They're the second lowest scorers in the league.
Yeah, but I've looked at, and we talked about this last week about Wolves. Their defending last week was atrocious when they drew 2-2. And I just thought that I wasn't big on them, and I thought that Spurs were going to give them more of a doing in than they did. 2-1 again, conceding again, free header in the 90th minute. You just let them have a free header. I think they're definitely open to. They're very vulnerable at the back, and I wouldn't be surprised.
They are. I wouldn't say. Yeah. And you've got to admit it's a risk. It is a risk going for a team that's in 19th and thinking, they're going to beat the team that's sitting in 8th.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So Pukki, maybe one for him, but we do think Wolves are going to win.
I don't know. I think
you don't. You've Norwich again. Sean the John McGinn, man, he is controversial.
There you go.
I'd like a bit of that.
It's in that mood. Sean, take us away then, mate. So we've covered
game
2
of the
games.
Weekend.
Where's the points?
Game of the weekend and a lot of points, but for who? To be determined. It has to be Man City, Leicester.
You're going to tell us where the points are.
Yeah, I am. And to be honest with you, Vardy's been on fire, but we touched about this before. The big games he hadn't performed this season. He hasn't scored in the big games. And I think because of that, I think that, you have to be a bit hesitant here. I think it would be different if the match was being played at the King Power. They do a lot better at home, I think. Leicester love to attack at home. This game, they're going to have to be a bit more cautious on that. So I think maybe there would be points coming more from Maddison, more midfield play coming up here. That's where I would go. But then I think City as well. I think a lot of people are going to lump onto Bruyne after last week. Right up there.
He's going to be a favourite. He's in form.
I think Sterling's going to get points.
I can see Sterling getting points. I can actually see Sterling coming back now. He's scored the goal. He's looked okay. He's not a bad player,
But Sean, do you reckon this is going to be a potentially high-scoring game? Do you think Man City will concede?
I think so, yes. I think we're looking at something like 3-1 to Man City.
To Man City. I feel like this game's going to play into Leicester's hands.
And I actually personally would like it to be Leicester, but
but I can see Man City are going to have to attack. They're at home. Leicester love playing on the counter-attack. We saw that this season they won the league. And arguably for me, they're a better team going forward now than...
They are. They played this fixture, which was, I think, that was the decider where Vincent Kompany had that great shot. And they won 1-0, but it was a bit of a torrid affair. To be honest, it was like you said, it was a really tight game. and rightly so. As you just mentioned, Leicester are so much a better team this season. So you're right. I think,
and defensively they're very strong as well. I mean, they've got the least goals let in by any team in the league. They have still only let in 11 goals, 14 from Liverpool. You know the way that Leicester played when they won the Premier League? They would sit back and then they'd counter-attack and Vardy would be there. I could see that happening again with City. If City don't score early, and you saw when City played Man United, it's a different game.
It is.
When Man City go and play like someone like Arsenal, who are tactically quite naive, I really think that Brendan Rodgers has got his team together. They're playing well. They're going to be aggrieved after a 1-1 with Norwich. And I think that this is going to be a really good game. It's definitely the big game of the weekend.
It really is. I mean,
what about Mahrez? Is he going to come back and haunt his old team? If I was Pep, I think I'd put Mahrez in. But as a fantasy Premier League manager,
it's a difficult one. I mean, as we're going into that heavy fixture period, I think De Bruyne has probably played himself into being undroppable, at least for the next game, and it's a big game as well.
Definitely,
right? Both teams.
Man City are going to have their best team out here.
100%. Both teams want to close.
Sterling's going to play.
Both teams want to close the gap on Liverpool. I think Mahrez is. I wouldn't put your money on Mahrez.
But the interesting thing is, does Pep know his best team? We've said about it before. He rotates so often. I'm not sure he does. I mean, I would say Sterling, De Bruyne is in his best team. Who's the rest of his best midfield? David Silva? Does Bernardo Silva get in?
Yeah.
Jesus has to play up front, or does he? I just feel that Pep doesn't know his best team. But you're right, what you're saying. Both De Bruyne and Sterling will play because it's a top game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe he does know his best team, but he just tries to be too clever and tries to do too much rotation.
He does try
much trickery. Yeah.
What do you think the score will be in this game, Sean?
I said they're 3-1 to Man City.
Man City.
Maybe Madison
NVD,
for
you see
Leicester.
I'm hoping for a 0-0, to be honest.
A 0-0?
Yeah.
You're hoping for it, but do you see that?
I unfortunately, I think I see this going 2-1 to City.
To City.
I think...
who do we think is going to get for City? We think De Bruyne because he's in form?
No, I think
it's Sterling.
I think, yeah.
I mean, 2 goals for Sterling, 2 assists for De Bruyne.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sterling's going to...
Okay, so Sterling and De Bruyne, you can't go wrong, listeners. Sean, next game for you, my boy.
Next game of the weekend has to be Spurs v Chelsea. The final game of the weekend. I think this is hard to prove. Two teams which... one which they had a good run of form, and then they've kind of the last couple of games that's completely reversed, and they've seen some shocking results in Chelsea. And Spurs, who are the opposite, who had obviously bad run of form, sacked their manager, and now they've had a good run of results. So, the momentum this season has shifted towards Spurs, and I think they will be going into the game favourites, which was unlikely to think that 4 weeks ago. It's difficult here on your players, and I've said this before about Spurs. They actually have quite a consistent, they've got many players, and it's difficult to say who's going to perform this week. We've seen that now. Kane didn't get any points after doing brilliant the week before. Even this week, Son didn't get any points. He still got 2 points after doing fantastic for the 3 weeks. And Ali. Exactly. So it's kind of difficult, which annoys me with Spurs. Where do you go? I don't know around that, but we do know that Chelsea, again, their defence has not been great, right? So I think there's an opportunity for Spurs to get goals here.
I agree, 100%. And I can see Spurs coming out, attacking early, really, really hitting Chelsea hard. I don't think Chelsea can defend great. I think Zuma's questionable. They had got Rudiger back, who was okay against Bournemouth. Tomori, we know, is out. But, we even saw it in the Champions League, and I just keep going back to that Ajax game. The way they whipped the ball in behind the Chelsea defence, it was too easy. I think Spurs have got, the talent and the ability to cross the ball and the ability to play at speed of any team in the league that's got that. Spurs have got it. They can be from one end to the other like that, and that will, for me, be the difference.
And again, Mourinho is going to want to try his best to kind of prove a point
desperate to beat
an old stomping ground.
He'll love to
as
beat
well.
Chelsea.
And look, they're playing. Spurs are playing at home as well. So I think it's good money to be put on.
I think Harry Kane's going to be...
Yeah, I think so too. And to be honest, Chelsea, I never bought onto the Abraham bandwagon. I think he did have 3 or 4 good weeks there, and you thought you were missing out on him. But consistently, it's not proven to be the case. So
do you know what's even tastier is if Tottenham beat Chelsea, Tottenham go into a Champions League spot.
It's crazy, right?
Tottenham